Hello everyone, and welcome to today's video on sprint planning. In this video, we will be discussing the concept of sprint planning, how to conduct effective sprint planning meetings, and tips on how to plan sprints effectively. What is sprint planning? Sprint planning is a key activity in Agile project management methodology, which involves setting the goals, objectives, and tasks for the upcoming sprint. It is an opportunity for the team to come together and plan out the work that needs to be done to meet the objectives of the sprint. Sprint planning typically occurs at the start of each sprint, and it involves the entire team, including the product owner, scrum master, and development team. Sprint planning process. The sprint planning process can be broken down into several key steps, which we will explore in detail below. Step 1. Define the sprint goal. The first step in the sprint planning process is to define the sprint goal. The sprint goal is a clear, concise statement that summarizes the purpose of the sprint. The sprint goal is an essential element of the sprint as it guides the team in prioritizing tasks and helps them stay focused on what needs to be accomplished during the sprint. The sprint goal should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Step 2. Review the product backlog. Once the sprint goal has been defined, the team will review the product backlog. The product backlog is a prioritized list of features, bug fixes, and other items that the team needs to work on. During the review, the team will evaluate the items on the product backlog and determine which items will be included in the sprint. Step 3. Create the sprint backlog. The next step in the sprint planning process is to create the sprint backlog. The sprint backlog is a list of tasks and items that the team needs to complete during the sprint. The sprint backlog is created based on the items that were selected from the product backlog during the previous step. The sprint backlog should be detailed enough to provide the team with a clear understanding of the work that needs to be done. Step 4. Estimate effort. Once the sprint backlog has been created, the team will estimate the effort required to complete each task. The effort estimates should be based on the team's collective knowledge and experience. The team should also take into account any dependencies or constraints that may impact the effort required to complete a task. Step 5. Assign tasks. Once the effort estimates have been made, the team will assign tasks to individual team members. It is important to ensure that the workload is distributed evenly across the team and that each team member has a clear understanding of their responsibilities. Step 6. Define acceptance criteria. Finally, the team will define the acceptance criteria for each task. The acceptance criteria are a set of criteria that must be met in order for a task to be considered complete. The acceptance criteria should be specific and measurable to ensure that there is no ambiguity in what constitutes a completed task. Tips for effective sprint planning. Now that we have covered the sprint planning process, let's look at some tips for conducting effective sprint planning meetings. Tip 1. Set aside enough time. Sprint planning meetings can take anywhere from 1 to 4 hours, depending on the length of the sprint and the complexity of the work involved. It is important to set aside enough time for the meeting to ensure that all items are covered and that the team has a clear understanding of what needs to be done. Tip 2. Involve the entire team. It is important to involve the entire team in the sprint planning process. This includes the product owner, scrum master, and development team. By involving everyone, you ensure that everyone has a shared understanding of the work that needs to be done and that everyone is working towards the same goal. Tip 3. Prioritize tasks. When creating the sprint backlog, it is important to prioritize tasks. The team should focus on the tasks that will deliver the most value and help achieve the sprint goal. This ensures that the team is working on the most important tasks first and helps prevent scope creep. Tip 4. Be realistic with effort estimates. When estimating effort, it is important to be realistic. The team should take into account any dependencies or constraints that may impact the effort required to complete a task. Overestimating or underestimating effort can lead to missed deadlines or a backlog of unfinished work. Tip 5. Collaborate and communicate. Effective communication is critical to the success of sprint planning. The team should collaborate and communicate throughout the sprint planning process to ensure that everyone has a clear understanding of the work that needs to be done and any potential roadblocks that may arise. Tip 6. Review and adjust. After each sprint, it is important to review the sprint planning process and make any necessary adjustments. This ensures that the team is continuously improving and that the sprint planning process is optimized for maximum efficiency. In conclusion, sprint planning is a critical component of Agile project management methodology. It involves setting the goals, objectives, and tasks for the upcoming sprint and requires the involvement of the entire team. Effective sprint planning requires prioritization, realistic effort estimates, effective communication, and continuous review and adjustment. By following these tips, teams can conduct effective sprint planning meetings and achieve their project goals. Thank you for watching.